And thank you for attending our webinar. In this session, we're going to show you what we have created around Fredhopper and SAP Hybris. If we can move to the next slide, I'll just describe briefly about Fredhopper. Probably you already know something about us, but Fredhopper is a search and merchandising provider. We've been doing whatever we're doing for quite some time, and we pride ourselves for being very good at what we do. And from a very broad perspective, we are helping our customers move from static shelf to digital aisle, which highlights our search and merchandising capabilities, from international to global, which is to mention our global SaaS offering, and from transaction to experience, which is our recent focus to personalization. Mauro, back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pavel. My name is Mauro Rallo. I'm the CTO of the Amsterdam For Your Customers location. And just a few words about our company. For Your Customers, it's a multinational company. You can see from the picture that it's located mostly in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Austria, and the Netherlands, from where I'm now talking. To describe what we do, I think that our motto is quite appropriate. We develop ourselves in the multi-channel business for your customers, and we do it by offering services around consulting, architecture, specification, design, implementation, and maintenance of the whole multi-channel universe, with a strong focus on PIM, CRM, and e-commerce solution. Pavel?
Yeah, sorry. So why did we develop the Fredhopper Hybris Connector? First, we believe and we see also that other customers of ours are moving into this direction of the so-called best-of-breed solution. So Hybris is a leading e-commerce platform, and many businesses use it, but Fredhopper is way more focused in search and merchandising. So we believe that the combination of the two platforms brings better value for the customers. Second, it's a technology fit. From architectural perspective, Hybris and the Fredhopper SaaS offering work well together, which has been proven through the years. And also the usage of Java on both platforms made it easy for us to make this decision. And last but not least, our customers have been doing this integration themselves or through partners for quite some time already. So it just makes sense for us to make this job easier for them to get the e-commerce platform and the search and merchandising solutions together by providing them out of a connector type of offering. Mauro, back to you.
Yes, thanks a lot. And well, Fredhopper and For Your Customers have been partners since a long time. And For Your Customers, we have quite deep knowledge of Fredhopper from the two aspects. One, from the business point of view, so we know how Fredhopper works, we know how to configure it, how to optimize it, and so on. And then from the implementation point of view, For Your Customers has done many Hybris Fredhopper integrations, and then so that sounded as a perfect fit to combine forces and deliver this Fredhopper SAP Hybris Connector. Let's now look a little bit more in what is the Fredhopper SAP Hybris Connector. We define it as a jumpstart toolbox for an integration of the two systems. So it's not a plug-and-play solution. It's not something that you can install and you just go, because of the nature of the two systems. Hybris and Fredhopper are two platforms that allows a high level of customization in your project. So they can adapt really well to the need of each customer or project. So it was almost impossible to deliver something that didn't need any kind of change or customization. So therefore, why we call it Jumpstart Toolbox. For who is familiar for Hybris, you can see it as a replacement of the standard Solr Hybris extension even if I have to say that we haven't replaced it completely, because that extension is quite is tightly integrated in the Hybris platform. So basically, we built our connector on top of it. And also, what was one of the main purposes of this connector is also to bring knowledge. So to bring our expertise, best practices that we have developed during the whole integration project. And that's why also we shipped together with the connector a reference implementation for the B2C apparel accelerator. Let's now look a little bit better into the structure of the connector. The connector is composed of mainly two modules. The indexer or file exporter basically generates the index and push it to Fredhopper, and then the query engine. So basically query the Fredhopper instance to power all search result or lister pages. As you can see, for each of the two modules, we have developed one part that is standard, that it's the same for all project, and one part that will need some adaptation in each project. To give you an example, if we're talking about indexing, the format of the CSV files delivered to Fredhopper or the REST call needed to start the indexation and so on are the same for all projects. So they will be part of the standard connector. While the generation itself of the CSV file, so which data will be contained in the file, are by nature depending on the project. And they will be then in the project-specific adaptation. So that's just to give you an idea of what is the general structure. What is in the box? So what do you get in the moment that you start working with the connector? First of all, it's an open source sub-project hosted at GitHub, and so you can get all source code that you want and look into it.
We selected the open source model to make it absolutely clear what's the IP of this thing. So it's freely available, it's licensed under the Apache 2 open source license, and also facilitates collaboration, and it's much easier for everyone to get, read, or contribute to the project.
And if we look a little bit more deeper in what is in the source code, we have mainly three extensions. The first one is the Fredhopper core. This one is a platform-independent collection of services, of course written in Java, but independent from Hybris. So you will find here all services to upload and generate the files. Then we have an extension, and this one is really an SAP Hybris extension, the Fredhopper Search, which is really the main part which holds the connection between SAP Hybris and Fredhopper. Here take place all the Solr replacement classes, and by design it should not be customized in each project. And then last one, but not least, we have the Fredhopper template. For whom is familiar with Hybris, it can be used with the XGen build. And basically, when you start using the connector, you generate your own extension starting from the Fredhopper template, and you do here all your customizations. One kind of mantra that we had during the whole process is that batteries included by removable. So with the connector, you get a lot of services, classes, and so on. If you want, you can use them, but if you want, you can always remove them or replaceable. The whole connector is built using Spring, so it's following the same philosophy of Hybris. So do you want to use it? Yes. If not, you can customize it. And last element that it was to mention, you can get also a wiki together with the open source project, always hosted at GitHub, with all documentation needed for a developer to start the installation, the configuration of the connector into your project. Let's now take a deeper look into the two components of the connector, and I will now start with the indexing. We have here a flow of how the indexing works. So we need to understand which product we want to export. We need to convert the product, so the model object from the Hybris data model to the Fredhopper data model. Then files CSV are generated and uploaded to the Fredhopper cloud. This is pretty standard in all projects. And what do you get from the connector to support this process? Well, first of all, you get a cron job and service orchestration for the whole generation of the index file and publishing of the index file to Fredhopper. Here you see a simple interface. I'm a technical guy, so I had to include some code in my presentation. Then you get some adaptation of the back office to maintain the configuration of the connector. In this case, we see the index configuration. And last but not least, again, we have a reference implementation for the P2C apparel. So installing the connector and the standard apparel, you will have a working Hybris integrated already with Fredhopper. What is left to do for you? So as you see from coming back from the previous picture, the blue box are what you have to do. And first of all, you will have to define what is your base product and variant structure. This will be different for all projects. And you will do it by implementing category and product DAO. In the standard Solr implementation, it's possible to use a query. Here we have a reference implementation with the query, but if you want, you can go further and create a more sophisticated retrieval strategy. And then you will have to, let's say, to define which attributes you want to export for each model, what are their metadata, and how they are exported. For who is familiar with Solr, with the Solr Hybris integration, it's pretty much the same. So what we tried also to do with the connector is to replicate the same behavior of the Hybris Solr integration in order to lower the learning curve of new developers. If we now look at the query part, well, what do you get? Actually, you get pretty many things. So the connector is a full replacement of the default Solr product search service, which includes free text search, breadcrumbs, pagination, sorting, spelling suggestion, keyword redirect, and so on and so forth. So what do you have to do when we speak about query and front-end integration? It depends on your project, but imagine that you have already an Hybris project integrated with Solr, so you have already done all the customization which are project specific to translate the Solr response into your result page data object. Well, if you would move to Fredhopper, you would have to do really little because of the level where we have implemented the connector, so basically at the service layer, all layers above the product search service almost do not require any change. But of course, it could be that you need to customize the Fredhopper page and Hybris search result value data conversion. So now I would like to stop with talking, and I will switch to my local environment. I have it here up and running, and I want to show you a little bit how it looks like. I will start from the back office of Hybris. It's the Hybris administration console, where basically we have added a new chapter below system, which is called Fredhopper Search. Here we have, as a first entry, the configuration of the Fredhopper export job. I will now open it. And as you know from Solr, an Hybris instance can be integrated with multiple Solr indexes or Solr configuration. The same would be possible with this connector. Out of the box, you will get only one. And you see that here below we have the specific cron job configuration. So this cron job, when executed, will generate the index for the default configuration. Again, just as a side note, it's possible to configure if you want to upload and trigger the indexation in Fredhopper or not. That's mostly done for development and maintenance reasons, because during development probably you want to first see how your files are generated and only then trigger the indexation on Hybris. Another aspect that it's possible to configure in the back office is the content of the index. So for who is familiar with the Hybris Solr integration, it's pretty much the same. So we can define what are the locales, what are the meta attributes, but there is one big difference. In the standard Solr Hybris integration, you can configure via Hybris also how search will behave. So which attributes are used as facets, how is the search query composed, which facet composition, and so on. Here, in this case, that's not present for a specific reason, because Fredhopper itself is managing all these aspects in the Fredhopper Business Manager. So what you have to do here in Hybris is just to define your index and their attribute. I will open one just to give you an idea of how it is composed. You can see here basically we want to export for each of our product, we want to export the EN number. Is defined as a text, as a base type. This list of base type is really the list of base type of Fredhopper. So you could define that it's an integer, a float, or any other option. And then, as in the standard Solr Hybris integration, it's possible to define how to retrieve the value for this attribute via this value provider field. In this case, it's empty, so we will use the default one, which will basically just execute a get en from the model object. But let's have a look to a slightly more complex. For example, we could take, yes, let's take an image. You can see that here we've specified an image value provider. Sorry, the image of the 300 URL provider. So in this case, we have implemented a class which is implementing a specific interface, the attribute provider, and defined the spring bean, and then used here the name of the spring bean. So for who is familiar with Hybris, it's pretty much the same concept, and that was also one of the targets of our development. Let's now move to the front end, because yes, we have created an index, but we also want to use it to do something with it. And that's the standard apparel accelerator. We developed this connector based on the Hybris 6.0 version, but I'm pretty sure that it will be valid or easy to adapt also for later versions. The flyout is currently coming from the CMS cockpit, as it is in the standard. But in the moment that I click on one of the voices, now I will execute a query to Fredhopper, get the response, and compose this page. As you can see, the URL is still the same as it would be in the standard Hybris, because we are trying to follow the same category URL provider. But in the moment that I click on a facet, you see now appearing the specific Fredhopper query syntax. So for who is familiar with the Fredhopper, you can find here all your queries. Of course, we haven't integrated only the category pages, but in the moment, for example, that I search for bag, this is a free text search. We can see some, for example, the result of the spell check or spell suggestion from Fredhopper. Now I have to say that this example is a little bit funny because we search for bag, but it proposes cap as a possible alternative. That's just because we haven't fully configured the spell suggestion, or let's say the suggestion on the Fredhopper instance. But you can see that we can change our sorting. We can use the pagination, for example. I will now scroll down again. And of course, we can use all the facets that we have. as you would do in a standard Hybris Solr integration. So now time of the demo is finished, and I leave space to all the questions.
Great, thank you very much, Mauro. We have a question. The first one is, what is required for me to use this connector?
Mauro, will you take this one?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, it's a Fredhopper SAP Hybris Connector. So basically, you will need to have an Hybris installation, and you will have to have a Fredhopper instance to which you can push your index and run your queries with. Besides that, you just have to download the source code from GitHub, install it. So basically, you add the extension to your local extension, rebuild your Hybris, and so on. And then you can start all your customizations.
Thank you. We have another question. What kind of merchandising functions can a non-technical person execute with Fredhopper Hybris using the connector? Can I boost certain sets of products or brands, for example?
Pavel,
I'll take this one. Yes, once you get the integration with the connector, you can use the full power of Fredhopper, including boosting certain sets of products on top. Fredhopper has many other merchandising options, so it's not limited to just a set of products. You can boost, vary, or replace, and so on. So we have a whole visual merchandising module in Fredhopper, and that can be freely used with the Connect integration.
And Pavel, just in addition to it, one thing that is right now not covered by the Fredhopper connector are the campaigns coming from Fredhopper, but it's in the idea to develop it in the future.
That is correct.
It looks like we don't have any more questions. So if you have a final comment.
Again, thank you all for attending this webinar from the Fredhopper side. We are very happy of this collaboration with you and your customers, and the connector we have now at our hands. It makes it much easier for customers and prospects now to evaluate both platforms and to make the decisions, because the cost has gone down significantly since the effort of integrating both is now much lower.
Okay,
Perfect.
and I cannot. No worries. I cannot then just join also as well. Thanks for attending the webinar. And if you have any question, you can also reach us by email.
Great, thank you very much. The presentation is now over. As a reminder, this session was recorded and the recording will be sent in a few hours, and you could download the presentation in the handout section. It will also be available in your email. Thank you all and have a nice afternoon.